Welcome to the Airbnb branding strategy call. Um, if you've not seen my previous video, my name is Phoebe. I have been within e-commerce for over 10 plus years now, and I love the strategy and systems and branding all combining into one. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see kind of how taking your site, your property, and how you can brand it. If you struggle with bookings and you struggle with creating more income for your STR, this is going to be really helpful for you. So let me put it onto the right page. Okay, so if you have seen my previous video, you will know what this flowchart is about, but I'm going to kind of go over it just really quickly for people who've never seen it before and they want to know more about it. So I'm doing a series of masterclasses over STR properties, and the three main things that we're going to go over today are branding, local area, and branding your property, and then how that contributes to creating local connections and building partnerships. Now, this framework has 5 pillars, as you can see, and the masterclasses that I'm creating are going to go through all of these. But today we're just going to be focusing on branding. Branding is super important to any business. If you want to stand out from the crowd, you need to have branding, and you need to be memorable to your clients, your guests, your customers. Like, branding is one of the main reasons that people buy things or people book things, or it captures people's attention. Branding is also a really good way to diversify yourself and stand out from the crowd. And it's key to definitely standing out on platforms such as Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, all those kind of platforms. Branding also goes into creating your own website, creating a welcome book. We'll talk about a welcome book in more detail on a separate call, but your welcome book can include all your branding and make a full-on experience for your guests, which is what you want. You want your guests to walk into your Airbnb and feel like this is a place that has been thought about deeply and that they're going to really enjoy. I know from experience, especially with hotels, that the ones that do the best are the hotels that you really feel that every single detail has been thought about. That is what you get when you extend your thought process to branding your Airbnb. Now, if you're sat there thinking, okay, well, how can I brand my Airbnb? Where do I even start with that? And this is why I've created this master plan and master call for you. So I want to start off going through this little system that I've created. So the four main things you think about when you have an Airbnb is your type of guests, the name of the property, the decor, and the rooms and offers that you have. They are the four ways that you can brand your property. And if I start off with types of guests, this is when you start thinking about where is your location and what is around your location and what type of property do you own. For example, if you are in a mountain area, then you might have more of a cabin-based property. And in that case, these types of properties would have a certain name, and therefore we then go on to the naming, and this kind of is how it's influenced is by the type of guests you are looking for and that are going to find your property on Airbnb. Now, when you also think of where is your location, you need to think in the guest's mindset. Now, what are they looking for when they are searching for that location? Is it a ski location? Is it a beach? Are they looking to explore a city? All these things are and should be top of mind for you when you are creating your brand. Now, you could also think about the name and what describes your property. So, for example, if you say you live on a beach, maybe your property is House on the Beach. Now, it's a very simple name, but it also would stick out as well. Like it's not a name that's not gonna get some attention, and it's simple, but it's also effective because it says where it is. So but you also want to look at how do you want your guests to feel when they're staying in your property. Do you want them to feel homely? Do you want them to feel like they're on an adventure? Do you want them to feel like they're on luxury? All these things can kind of go into your branding, and this is kind of what you should be thinking about when you start first thinking about your brand and what you want your property to represent. So then that kind of leads on to the decor. What kind of interior do you have? Will either enhance or decrease what your guests are feeling. So if it's like old dated interior, then they might not feel very comfortable. If it's interior that is very showroomy but not like homely, then maybe they don't look, they won't feel very home-like and they won't stay very much time in the property. All depends on what kind of, again, what type of guest you are getting. So for example, if you're in a really cold place that's more of a cozy area, you want your interior to kind of represent that and have that feel. And I'm going to come on to why interior and decor is important in a minute, but it should, one, enhance your guests, and it too should also reflect within your branding. So think about the reasons why your guests are coming for. Are they coming for a nice homely stay, or are they coming for a luxury stay? And then think about the location? Is it an escape, or are you enhancing the location? Do you want to kind of bring the location indoors? Like, for example, if you're around the mountains, do you want to have a few pictures around the place that are photos of when the town used to be like a couple of houses rather than all the houses that it is now? Um, Things like that. You can kind of incorporate it into it and make it a bit like a story. Um, and then when you think about a story, you want to think about how many bedrooms do you need to maximize your income. So if you have a property with, say, 4+ rooms, then maybe you have a property that you can use as a hook. So people that are successful on Airbnb often have like a game room, they have maybe a office room, or they could have a social media room. You don't see this very often, which is something I help people coach on, is creating social media rooms. Um, and what that basically means is it's a room where people will take loads of photos, they will share your content, or they'll share their content, but the content will be of your Airbnb, and it will be a place where people want to go. It will be a place where people feel like they're missing out if they do not go to your property. And that is what you want, and that's what you want to create. So you can also think about, do you have a hot tub, a pool, a sauna, or are you on a farm? There's all these things that add to a property and can make it just that much more enticing for somebody to book. But also this all goes into your listing. So when you're thinking about all these things, this is all going to be added to your listing on Airbnb or your website or wherever you are promoting your short-term rental. You want it to incorporate all the benefits of somebody staying at your place. So I'm just going to show you another way of thinking about this. So your location depends on what type of guests you attract. We've kind of gone over this, but I wanted to go into this in more detail. So where you are, for example, the mountain, what kind of reason will people be going there? They'll be going there for ski resorts, hiking, and views. And then who does that really attract? So what type of guests are you attracting? So you might have groups of friends, couples, or it could even be business trips. And then a good example is the beach. So people go there for surfing, relaxing, and maybe restaurants. And this is a really good point to mention. This whole system that I'm teaching you, so remember this is just the branding section, but when you're doing this exercise, it's really good to know what is around your area, because if you have restaurants, museums, theatres, water parks, or maybe you have national forests or walks that people need to pay for, these are all really good affiliate income opportunities that you can add to your welcome books or welcome sites, and therefore create an extra income because you can link and connect with these businesses and create a mutual agreement that you're sending people from your short-term rental, and you get a commission off of sending these people to the area. Because if you think about it, if you're going to a new area, you do not know what is around you. You do not know where the best restaurants are. Yes, you can Google it, but there's nothing better than local knowledge and actually following somebody from what they know. Like, I'm going to trust more about a review from somebody that I'm paying to stay in their house of than maybe trying to Google it and find somewhere myself. Or I'm going to use the welcome site and click through to them purchase maybe a water park for my family, a ticket, because I've seen they've suggested it's a good day out, and therefore I'm going to go on people's suggestions. So when you're thinking about branding, you need to think about the whole picture. So where, what, and who. You need to really wholesomely look into where your property is, what it can offer, and what type of guests you will be attracting. So then another example is the city. So sightseeing, restaurants, museums, theatres, that's the reason why people go to the city. They want to experience the culture. And again, this is where you come in. You can share the culture through your welcome sites and your website. We'll go over this in another video because I'm very passionate about this, but it's just a really good way of adding and also making sure that you get the reviews you deserve, because if you're adding extra information into your guests, then they're going to be really grateful and they're going to really love the fact that you have given them this opportunity to have a better stay. Not many people will go out their way to provide this kind of information. So it's a really good way of showing that you care about your guests. So couples, stag do's, corporate events, mother and daughter trips, these are all the types of people you need to be thinking about when you're branding. So for example, a forest is a forest, but within a forest, you can have weddings, honeymoons, couples, young kids and dogs, because they like the fresh air, and it's a good way of having a cheap wedding or going away and being completely secluded within their life. But especially with these weddings and honeymoons and stag do's and bachelorette parties, you have such a big opportunity there to be able to add a service. Now, yes, you are a property, a house or a villa or a flat or apartment, whatever. But you are almost lucky because you can provide a service on top of your property. If somebody says they are coming for a wedding or they're coming for a bachelorette, then maybe you could offer on your website, your booking website, or through your systems when you're sending them contact information and communication, just in general, you could offer to decorate or to give a cake or to provide some alcohol for when they get there. And this could just be an added extra that they pay you for. So, of course, you could offer this for free, but if you want to increase your income and you already feel stressed by the fact that on Airbnb and platforms like this, your cost is being driven down because of supply and demand, this is another way of adding an extra layer of income to you. I don't know whether you've ever heard about the McDonald's business strategy, but they add chips and a Coke on to make a meal deal. This is all you are doing. You're just adding extras on to your already service that you're giving, just to make it that much more enjoyable and also for you to make more money. It's really that simple. It's not complicated in any way, but we will go over this in an added income video. But I just wanted to like add that bit in there for you to have a little bit of a think about. So what are the main things that make up a brand? So you've got your logo, colours, theme, website colours and font, photos, and the hook. Now, let's go through these. So your logo. When I say a logo, it doesn't have to be complicated. If maybe you have more than one property, maybe you want to brand them all and under like one brand, and then like have extensions. So like the beach hut, the beach mezzanines, like things like that. Or you just name its name, and the logo can just be a really enticing font. I'm going to show you a few examples below, but the logo is more your name. It's more how you stand out from the crowd on Airbnb and on your website. What makes you memorable and what makes you stand out. And that can be enhanced with the colours. So when I say colours, I'm also thinking about your interior. What kind of warm colours do you want to add to someone? Maybe you have a very neutral house, so maybe you want to add some pop of colours with like cushions and artwork and things like that. And maybe you could take those colours and put it into your website or your branding on your throughout your house. So a lot of Airbnbs will have almost welcome sites already, but they're just through PDFs. They're not branded, doesn't really look enticing, it's not really very fun, and it's not very engaging to the guests. And this is what you want to kind of create, is that engagement, and colours will do this magically. Colours can be super important to make people remember you. They can also enhance a lot of feelings with you. So say your site sorry, say your property is more of a earthy feel and it's very close to the desert, and you want people to feel like they are really grounded in that space, you might go for like earthy greens, yellows, and reds maybe. Kind of just made that up in my head, but you kind of get my point. And then this kind of goes nicely into theme. So if your Airbnb has a theme, you're more likely to be shared on social media. So there are lots of different types of themes out there. I'm gonna kind of try and name a few off the top of my head, but you have like aquarium themes, you have maybe like princess themes, you have large pad themes, you have like luxury themes, and you can even take it one step further and go like velvet theme. But when I say a theme, I mean something that's going to make your guests really realize you mean business and you are different from your competitors. So if you had a area that was just dedicated to games, or this kind of goes into the hook. So if you just had a had a room that was full of old-fashioned games, or even just a pool table, or um, a room full of velvet furniture and velvet walls, maybe. This would be a great way of marketing it, because it would be something different and it would be something that people would want to take photos of with their friends, and they would really enjoy being around something different that they can Instagram, they can share. And this then helps you, because then you have more people seeing your property, and most likely people will want to also stay there too. So this kind of goes into your website. So once you've had a kind of thought about your colours, your theme of your property, and the name, you then can create a website that can enhance your brand even more. So your property is a business, and if you want to enhance your return on investment, then creating a website that collects affiliate income, collects added service income, and creates a system so you get your time back, then a website is a great way to do that. And it is also a great way to create a welcome handbook. So this then enhances your guests' experience and then adds to your reviews. So like I said in the beginning, this all comes full circle and it all connects with each other, but so it's hard not to mention them all, but I'm trying to go into more depth on each one. So photos are also super important within branding, and this almost feels like it gets forgotten sometimes. Your photos should be professionally taken. They should be once you have all your interior decor done, and they should really represent your type of client you're looking for. So do you have a big property with lots of rooms that you're going to have lots of groups staying in? Then you need pictures of all the rooms to show if there's double beds, there's single beds, and there's sofa beds. There's all these kind of things and photos that you need. Do you have a hot tub? Do you need photos of the hot tub? Do you need to show how many people can fit in the hot tub? Is it a big hot tub? Is it a small hot tub? Is there a pool? Is the pool heated? All these kind of things that you can kind of show in your photo. And if you're wondering how can you show if your pool is heated in the photos, I mean with the Cavalier steam coming up in the photo. I'm not a photographer, but I guess this is what you can do with heated pools. So then we go on to the hook, and the hook can be really simple but also really effective. So I have kind of mentioned this when I was talking about themes, but for example, if you had a games room, if you had a hot tub, if you had maybe a walk-in wardrobe and you were wanting people to stay for longer than just a couple of weeks, this would be a really good pull in, because they know they can put all their clothes there and they can pack for as long as they want. There's enough wardrobe space. You have different hooks of maybe what's in the kitchen. Have you got pasta making machines? Have you got a lady who comes and helps teach pasta making? Have you got a chef who can come? All these things that you can add as a hook. And this hook stands you out from your competitors, and that is all we are doing when we are branding your Airbnb. Like I said before, you're a brand and you're a business, so you should be branding yourself. You should be wanting people to know who you are, know what you stand for as a business, and that comes through on your branding. And I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. These are just screenshots of some sites that I have done. and you can see how branding is effective within these. So this one actually isn't finished yet, but as you can see, this is really effective. Just a front page website, just because you kind of get that cozy feel, that it's a luxury cabin. And then this one's very focused on beach and how a beach can make you feel really welcome. So we've got dogs that are welcome, private dunes, so it's all luxury all together. So I hope this has been really insightful and it's helped you realize how a brand can have a really positive effect on your business. So I'm just going to go back to this again. So we covered local area and branding the property and the hooks. Now the hooks can also go into creating local connections. So like I just said about the pasta machine and having somebody over to create pasta, you could create services with your local community. You can create connections with your local restaurants. You can create connections with your local water parks. And this is how you add extra income into your property. So as you can see, it's all connected within the flow. And that's why understanding your local area, why somebody is coming to you in that local area is so important. So I hope this was really helpful. I'm just going to stop sharing. See if there's any comments. Okay, so I hope that was really, really helpful, and do message me if you have any questions. And yeah.